talked in the past about restaurants and bars and hospitality, even health and wellness spaces and local community projects, but you don't just deal locally or nationally, you deal internationally. And one of the brands that I want to talk about today is Adidas. Tell me how that came about.
Um, yeah, Adidas. We got introduced into Adidas via one of the consultants that we work with. They recommended us into Adidas to help support their project management role.
Okay.
So we came in, helped support the QS role, but with that, the project management role. But with that, we did some of the QSing at that stage,
Okay.
and then from that, we effectively formed a partnership with that development manager, working through, and we had a lot of their work from that time running through for a number of years. That developed from local UK work to the second job was actually in Stockholm.
Right. Okay.
So went from doing that was a brand core, a brand showroom, if you like, over in Stockholm. And then from that, we did a further store in Stockholm. And in the end, we ended up working in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, Holland, Belgium, and the UK. And some of those are sort of the top brand stores, if you like, for what they're doing. So places like Westfield.
Yeah.
Also, some was just pure sports performance, if you like, and some was leisure branding. So the old Adidas trefoil stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Now, I know you're into your football and you're into sport. So what was it like going into working with Adidas?
Adidas was a great brand to actually get involved with.
Yeah.
In terms of understanding where they are as a German brand, primarily.
Yeah.
Understanding back through from how that works in Europe, if you like, in terms of their procurements over there to how we were different over here.
Yep.
And for the time that we were working on it, we were running a slightly different procurement route. In that we were employing main contractors and sort of directs, whereas Germany as such and some of the rest of Europe were still on what is effectively a construction management process. We helped draft JCT contracts, working with the lawyers to incorporate all the special sort of Adidas terms into there, all the way through working on their purchase orders and things like that. So there was a fair mix in what we did in terms of working with brand. Great name to have on our portfolio.
Yeah.
Good.
So tell me how working in retail differs from a bar, restaurant, or cafe.
Different. Retail is different sort of end product. When we're looking at a bar, cafe, or restaurant, the central operation really is almost back of house in terms of the kitchen space and the pass, and how that's then serviced front of house through waiter stations and that sort of thing. Whereas with the retail, which we've worked with Adidas, we've worked with Ben Sherman, we've worked with the White Company and various people over the years, it's all about getting the product on the actual front of house area and how then we have the rationales for or ratios rather for storage compared to front of house space, remote storage, and that sort of side of things.
Whilst I know you have your systems and processes in place, it just sounds like completely different businesses, but you're so well equipped to handle them both.
A lot of the elements are similar.
Yeah.
Everywhere still needs to have electrics. Everywhere still needs to have air conditioning or ventilation. Paint is paint, whatever your product is at the end of the day. And how those areas addressed. What we have gone is we've gone from very much sort of white box retail all the way through to sort of quite bespoke sort of complex, if you like, retail in terms of how things are shown off and that sort of thing. There's been one or two challenges in that. If you look at the Westfield Adidas shop front, that was quite an intricate shop front. Looks quite simple from the outside, but it's almost that Stadia concept that they put into Westfield was new at the time. And
Okay.
yeah, we had to work with some quite large spans of glass, elements of steel within that shopping centre environment as well.
Gotcha. So what's next with regards to retail for you? Have you got anything on the horizon, or are we sticking with bars, restaurants, and the healthcare?
At this time with retail, there's nothing imminent at this very moment. I think the high street is suffering a little bit at the moment.
Yeah.
And with that, some of our workload in that sector has suffered as we've gone through. We're always open to speak to people in terms of that high street sort of environment. And if we can help, I'm actually looking at, when I say nothing imminent, I'm actually looking at a shop tomorrow for someone.
Okay.
But that's more from our sort of community engagement sort of side of things, in that it's related to an NHS trust.
Okay.
And it's a public face for them for fundraising.
Gotcha.
So we're going in to give our expertise on stock rooms and shelving and displays and finishes that we can give a let's say a value to them in what they're trying to do.
And you know what? It's really interesting, because what you've shared with me over the weeks of doing these videos with you is the fact that, you know, you can literally do anything, literally within hospitality, within you know, if there's a space that needs building or putting something in, you have the skills to do that, whether that be retail, whether it be hospitality, whether it be big or small. And I'm excited to see what you are going to be sharing with us in the coming weeks. So how would you like people to get hold of you?
First port of call, and the best port of call to start with, is by email. Julian at jca-ltd.co.uk. Should be on the screen. With that, I will get back to you, and hopefully we can start a series of conversations to help understand what you need and how we can help you with our skill sets and what we've got.
Awesome. And you're very active on social media as well, aren't you?
We do a little bit on social media. Find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram, and obviously LinkedIn.
Cool. Awesome. Julian, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks very much.
Thanks for your time.